All right, Dustin Seyersdahl. Is that even
Seyersdahl.
close? Seyersdahl.
Yeah.
Anyway, real estate investor, entrepreneur in from Ohio. We met, I think, a year ago-ish.
It's going on a year, yeah.
Yeah. But you had been in the Propelio community leading up to that, watching all the videos that Daniel and I and the community did.
Yep.
And then you, which was crazy, is the way we met was I put out kind of like a bat signal of, hey, we're looking for volunteers to help us out with this convention. And you're like, I'm in. And one thing that surprised me most about that interaction was most people that would volunteer for something like that are brand new to real estate investing, maybe did a contract. You're like, yeah, I did 11 last month or whatever. And you're like, holy shit. So you're like an established guy.
Yeah.
And it was like, and you came out and helped out anyway.
Yeah.
So,
I was sitting there doing deals actually while we were, talking to people.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it was a benefit to you because we were like, I think like 1 in 4 people, I was like, oh, you looking for a deal? Talk to him.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of funny you say that because I was one of the people I actually met, I had never known them previously. I met them networking with them, and they have went to become a JV partner with me, and I helped them close out several wholesale deals over the past year. I actually just flipped 3 houses with them. And it's turned from a wholesaling partnership to a flipping partnership, now to raising private money with them, just from volunteering.
And you know what my question is now? What's my cut?
Yeah.
Like, who knows?
You like steak, right?
Oh, I can afford dinner.
Well, okay.
I want mutton. I'll take steak.
Okay. See?
But that's cool. But that's what the power of networking and the power of real estate. And it's kind of weird times in 2020 where since February, nobody's done any kind of in-person events because everybody's gone virtual. It's like, okay, I understand it. If I need to learn how to count to 10, let's jump on a virtual. But the power of human interaction and looking somebody in the eye and going, this guy's full of shit, or this is a legit person. You can't get that on Zoom.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
Once life lessens up, it'll be kind of cool where people can get out there and do it.
Oh yeah.
So real estate.
Yeah.
You're in Dallas right now. You're not in Dallas for me. You're in Dallas for your partner Josh over there.
Yeah.
What is that about?
I don't know. I've always wanted to get into Dallas and Florida. Aside from Ohio, I've always wanted to get into those 2 states. I think for me, coming to Dallas was a lot of networking events, getting to know the Propelio group, just everything in general has always led me here. And since I've been here, I've wanted to do business here. Everybody's always said, well, it's a competitive market. You're going to have a hard time. Well, I kind of disagree because I like to hustle, but I'm here to do business, plain and simple. And that's all there is to it.
It's a funny thing about competition, at least from what I see. And disclaimer, I'm not out there competing because as we were talking before, I personally, I'm because of my history in real estate, I'm not one to actually go out there and buy houses or be in the houses or I'm not the kind of guy that's like, ooh, the smell of cat piss. Ooh, it gets me going. Like that's not me. But I've been around it a lot. Yeah. And the people that are complaining about competition are usually the ones that don't stick around. Because the people that are still successful, they're like, what pandemic? What corona? What competition?
Yeah.
They're still killing it.
Yeah.
Maybe they're doing different levels of killing it. Maybe killing it is only 50% production, but they're still afloat.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many Facebook heroes that suddenly they're not Facebook heroes anymore. They're not out there, beating their chest about how awesome they are.
Yeah. It's funny, I kind of suck at the whole social media thing. I like making posts and things like that, but at the end of the day, I like to get down and do some deals. That's what I enjoy, And you see everybody talking about this and that, and it's just like, let's just do some deals. Like, even though Corona hit, like let's get out there and do something.
It's like there's the problem. What's the solution?
Exactly.
So as far as your journey into real estate, what'd you do before investing?
So I started in restaurants when I was 14 years old. I started serving, worked up, was a bar manager like when I was 21 years old. Just spent 17 years in the restaurant business. I bar managed up until I was about 24, 25 years old, and then I went to work for a consulting company and traveled around, did the Bar Rescue, Restaurant Impossible shows, like helped on the back end of that, like train into restaurants as a consultant. And then I went on to own 4 restaurants in about 2017. And then I actually walked away from that partnership just because just some things going on. But I decided I've always wanted to get into real estate. I grew up with a construction background. That was always my side job, helping my dad hang drywall. I'm like, I seen an opportunity in the construction end of the business to jump in and start rehabbing some homes for other investors. I took that opportunity to become a contractor again with my dad, started slapping up drywall for investors. Before I knew it, we were doing full rehabs, pulling in sub-crews, and about 6 months in, went on to do my own first flip of private money.
Yeah. Real quick, try not to beat on the desk because I'm sure Seku's like, man, it's beating up my ears.
Oh, you're good.
One thing that you said through all that really resonated with me is the power of coincidence / the power of just opportunity and adversity, and then, hey, it turns out to be a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for me, I was laid off back in the end of January, and at the time, I was like, oh, well, now what? Okay, well, I got some plans I want to do. Let's go. And then Corona hit. It's like, well, shit, that kind of kills all those plans.
Yeah.
But then it's like, okay, well, let me knock out an ankle surgery, and then let's also really kind of map out what I'm trying to do with the studio.
Yeah.
So even though I haven't been able to have this meteoric rise post-Corona, it's still been okay with me. I'm not like some of these people that their lives are completely crushed. Now, I preface all this because I wanted to ask you, are you super thankful you're not in the restaurant industry right now? Because, I mean, I don't know much about that sector,
Yeah.
but from what I hear with Corona, the restaurants, I mean, if you're freaking Applebee's or TGI Fridays, the asshole of all restaurants, you're doing fine.
Yeah.
But really good restaurants, the mom and pop ones, those are the ones that are hurting.
Yeah. And if I would have kept growing, I had 4 restaurants. If I would have kept growing, I probably would have been somewhere, 7, 8, 9 restaurants probably by then. And I look at that now like, man, I would have been crushed.
You would have been destroyed.
Yeah.
You would have and possibly, I mean, whatever. I'm not going to say what you would have done, but.
Yeah. I look at it as a blessing. Like, look,
Yeah.
it was like, me and my wife actually were talking about that a while back. Like, man, I'm kind of thankful I'm not in the restaurant business right now because everybody I know that is shutting down.
Well, I mean, because you probably loved it at the time, and that transitioning to go from restaurants to contracting to investing,
Yeah.
it probably was not the smoothest path.
No.
But again, thank God I'm not, owning a restaurant.
Yeah.
Because in January of 2020, if you had 8, 9 restaurants, everybody would be looking at you like, man, that Dustin Seyersdahl is man, he's king of Ohio.
Yeah.
And then 3, 4, 5 months later, it's like you got a bunch of worthless buildings right now.
Yeah,
So.
pretty much. I think with Corona, it's actually kind of launched my real estate, to be honest.
Let's talk about that.
So my first year in real estate, I literally just did flips. That was what I did. And I struggled, because I would do a flip and then, 2 months later, I'd have 3 months worth of bills I had to pay. And before I knew it, my bank account was back at zero. And I mean, it was literally the point where, my wife's calling me like, hey, the repo man's in the driveway. Like, what do I do? I'm on the bedroom floor of your son. Like, What are we doing? We're flipping houses, making good money, yet we're still broke.
Yeah.
And,
Were you not marketing consistently?
No.
Okay.
I was just a new guy, jumped all in,
Got it.
I mean.
By the way, I love your wife. She's amazing.
She is. I love her to death. So, but, we pushed through that. It was those challenges that introduced me to wholesaling, first off.
Yeah.
And I learned how to leverage wholesaling and put groceries in the fridge. And then, that next year, I actually quit flipping and went wholesaling full time and literally wholesaled my family out of debt in like 8 months.
Well, that's what's interesting is like, depending on, there's so many strategies in real estate, and you should master all of them.
Yes.
And then if you only go down one path, you're probably going to ruin eventually. Like the knock against wholesaling is the fact that if you only wholesale, well, yeah, you make a lot of money, but what if you want to go on vacation?
Yeah.
Then you're not making any more money.
You also have a job you have to stop
a job
for 2 weeks while you're on vacation.
Exactly. So, and what I was alluding to earlier, obviously you know this, but like typically, especially with newer flippers, they'll spend money on marketing, they'll go out, buy a house. Once they bought the house, they spend 3 to 4 months flipping it. but they're not marketing because they're not worried about that next flip, that next acquisition, because hey, I'm fully tied up in this one or two houses, one or two projects.
Yep.
But again, what that does is you have this, hey, a lot of cash, a lot of debt, and you're like, oh, screwed. But if you're able to leverage wholesaling while you're doing that, you can still do that. But I can totally appreciate just saying, hey, let's not do any flips right now and go 100% wholesaling.
Yeah, I mean, it was a fight or flight mode for me. Like, I was like, I've got to wholesale. Like,
Yeah.
I told the wife that day she called me, the repo man was down the driveway. I'm like, lock the cars in the garage. I'm going to dig us out of debt somehow, some way.
Yeah.
And, I went on, linked up with several powerhouse buyers in the area, got to know them, started checking out their projects, just getting to know them and networking. And I think that July, I dove in 100% full time, and I locked up like, oh man, I think from July to July, it was like 70 some deals. And then,
Well, I ran into this problem last year in OREACon. I hear 70 deals because I'm thinking Dallas numbers. I'm like, fuck, this dude's a gajillionaire.
yeah, and yeah.
But 70 deals in Ohio could be like, $63.22.
Correct, basically.
Yeah.
And,
no offense to Ohio,
I made enough out of that to dig my family out of debt, get us on the right path. But, it's nowhere near, where our average deal in Ohio is anywhere from like $3,000 to $10,000.
That's still really good though.
And then by the time I'm paying out acquisitions, dispositions, trust me, I made some decent money.
You got out of debt.
Nowhere near. And I also had a partner that was splitting 50-50 with at that time. So, it did what I needed.
Yeah.
But then, I seen the bigger picture and kind of seen where I was getting taken advantage of and where I was doing too much. And then that's where I started refining my systems at the end of the year. Then COVID hit. And that kind of made me rethink a lot of things. That partnership kind of didn't work out how I wanted. And, I think I was on vacation right when COVID hit Florida and they shut down the beaches. And I had to kind of just look at myself like, all right, what am I doing? Like, all right, I know what I'm doing now. I can close deals. I did just shy of 100 deals last year. If I can do this with partners and other people and I'm not getting treated right, I need to go do my own.
Yeah.
And that's when I started building out my own systems in my basement, hiding from my kids. Like, all right, I can do this on my own. And I launched Midwest REI Connect as my company, like late April, beginning of May.
And I'm assuming by the naming of that and with your background and our history, you probably want to start doing meetups with that as well.
Exactly. So I had started Midwest REI Connect as just a local meetup.
Yeah.
And what I started realizing was I had other local wholesalers starting to come to me like, hey, help me with deals. Hey, help me flip houses. And so that's where I was like, Midwest REI Connect. Like, okay, I'm connecting investors. I'm connecting deals. I'm connecting this. All right. I'm going to launch this as my business as like kind of a connection company.
Are you doing the media stuff too?
No, not yet. I'm working on it. And that's, as I'm building these systems out, that's where I'm shooting.
I tell everyone, and Seku can attest this, even potential clients to hire our team, I say the absolute best thing you can do is go find yourself a $50,000-$60,000 full-time videographer editor. And the only thing they do is to just follow you, shoot you, manage you, and just create a ton of content.
Yep.
The downside there is then you have another employee that you have to manage, and you have to have faith that they'll do what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
So that's why you should hire me. But when I'm doing like sales pitches, I start with that, and then I follow with what I offer. But you got to go the media route, man.
Yeah, and I think
because Vina does that, doesn't she?
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple people know how to do, and as I'm, we just started renovating an office. It's kind of a co-work space for our local wholesalers.
The picture of it. It's amazing.
So I'm just trying to be that connection hub locally for the wholesalers. When I come down here, I see a lot of that. But when I go to Ohio, it's everybody like stays to themselves. But yet there's people that want help.
One thing that you were talking about a second ago, and I don't want to tangent away too quickly, is because I'm really bad about tangents. Like that's just my natural conversational style. Is everyone in real estate. That's why real estate in joint ventures and partnerships is so difficult, is because it's in theory very simple. It's 1 + 1 + 1 = 3. And the problem is a lot of guys in the real estate world they're number 3, and they don't realize the 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 3, and then they go out on their own before and not even know what those other hands are doing, and they're like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and then they fail miserably because they never realize what those other pieces are. So I would recommend everyone, go out on your own and do this, but don't be so naive to think that you were the only reason your company was doing well. Like, I can't speak to you or know your history, but I've seen it over and over and over again where somebody's like the top performer at XYZ company, and they're the reason XYZ company is so good, and then they leave that company, and then you never hear from them ever again.
Yeah.
So just I would say just be real with yourself.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah,
Not you, but you.
Yeah, everybody.
Just be authentic and just be real, be honest.
Yeah, I think one of the things people forget.
Basically, I'm talking to Josh. Don't leave your man Dustin here.
You got it, man.
Yeah.
Stick with him.
Yeah.
Well, he does it right.
There you go. There's so many other workings to stuff that people don't see. It really is. You can be really good at one thing, but if you don't have the people that are also really good at the other things, you're still gonna fail. Plain and simple.
Well, one thing I've heard, at least for the past 3 years, and shout out to Gary Harper.
I'm just thinking that in my mind.
And it's just like, I love the guy, but I hate the guy, because it's always the same bullshit of work on your business, not in your business. Work on your business, not in your business. And it's like, and I have a good relationship with Gary, so it's not like I don't actually hate him. But I was like up at 12, 1, 2 in the morning last night, going back and forth with Sekou on Slack, but we're working on processes to make everything easier, and it's just like, okay, this is what Gary meant.
Yeah.
Work on the business, not in the business. And I'm like, okay, Gary. I even have a sauna because that guy.
You know what? It's actually right now my biggest number one goal in my business to achieve is getting him in my business by the end of the year. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's I've reached out to him recently, and it's just like I see it.
Yeah.
For clear as day now, I see exactly everything I got to fix.
So real quick, shout out to Gary Harper, Sharper. I mean, they've got like 30 companies,
Yeah.
but basically systematizing your processes, systematizing your company, mainly real estate, but I think they dabble in other
Some
sectors
other
as
things
well.
too, yeah.
But they do like a quarterly mastermind, and it's basically taking people to where if you do want to take a 3-week vacation, your business doesn't fail because you have a system around that.
Yeah.
So I went to a mastermind in Chicago, I think it was over a year ago. It was I think July 2019 is when I
Yeah.
went to that. But so shout out to Gary and Susan. So
Yeah, they're awesome people.
I think they're
Love 'em
great.
to death.
I actually texted him maybe 2-3 weeks ago when I got a sauna and was like, in my head, I was like, you son of a bitch, I got a sauna. But I was like, hey, man, just I thought you'd get a kick out of this. I have a sauna now.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
clearly I'm a systems guy.
Yeah. I became one. I used to
I'm trying.
I used to think I could do it all myself, and then that's where I was failing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's I don't know. It's that whole, I'm trying to think the way, I'm not very good at articulating thoughts, but like when you're a kid, you know everything, and then you get an adult and you're like, you know nothing, and then you get even older and you knew nothing ever.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I was wrong, because I'm never wrong, but there's a lot of things I knew that Gary was teaching that was like, okay, I know this makes sense, but it doesn't make sense for me at this moment in time.
Yeah.
And then you fast forward and you're like, oh, that's why he was saying it. Because the time to build, the time to plan for the 10,000 story tower is when you haven't even broken ground.
Yeah.
And I've always been the guy that's like, no, fuck it, let's just start building.
Yeah. It kind of hit me a while back, actually. I had a consulting thing set up with him, to talk to one of his people that, get me set up with them. And it hit me. I was trying to fill in for one of the landscapers 'cause on a flip. We had like 3 days to wrap this job up, and I'm sitting here sweating, and I had this Zoom set up with Stephanie that works with him. And I jump in my car. I'm like, sorry, I was like, trying to get this flip wrapped up today. And she said, Are you a landscaper, or are you like gonna flip a house? And it hit me then. It's like, I started realizing just because I'm good at something doesn't mean I need to be doing it. as well.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we all kind of fail, is like, we may be good at something, but there's people that can be better at it than us.
Or
even if they're a portion as good as you, and there's a people that are a portion as good as you at each individual thing, it can be better than you as a whole.
what's that whole 80% thing? If they're 80% as good as you should give it to them.
Correct.
Because it's that, I forgot what the concept's called, but it's that your value of your time, the value of your hour.
Yeah.
Like, is your hour worth $15 or is it worth thousands of dollars?
Yeah.
So
It's a mindset thing.
like a landscaper, I'm sure you could find a really good one for $15 an hour.
Yeah.
Or, hey, $50 to do the entire project.
Yeah.
Or your time, is it best spent trying to finish that up, or is it best spent trying to find another deal?
Yeah.
Or spending time with the wife and the kids.
Exactly.
Or going to the movie by yourself to get some mental clarity.
Yeah.
So I totally get it, but because I'm right there, because
It's awesome once you realize it.
well, it's also the whole, like, depends where you are in your business, because that's another thing I always mentally juggled, or because, like, Daniel at Propelio, we'd always like bush heads about that, because it was always not, we didn't actually bash heads, but it was more of the, you shouldn't be doing this, you should be getting somebody else to do that. And my response was always like, I hear you, I get that, but who? There's nobody behind me. So if you're a small business person, if you're on a small team, yes, systems are incredibly important, but like, if there's nobody there to offload that work to, well, then what the fuck are you supposed to do?
Yeah.
So for me, I do a lot of things because I haven't built those systems, or there's no money in place to hire somebody, or I haven't been creative enough to figure out a way to do it without money or without people.
Yeah.
It just takes time.
It does. Yeah, it's like, like I said, around April, May, I started to kind of, think about rebooting my business. So there's been times where I've had to just do things to get it done. But you have to, even if you have those moments, it's okay. Just think ahead of like, okay, what can I do next time to this don't happen again?
So what do you think is the most enlightening aspect of rebuilding your business? Like what is something you learned about either yourself or your business, or you're like, man, this is really cool?
It's reflecting on my failures and the things I've done wrong, and understanding a better way to fix it. It's getting to know the people I've gotten to know over the past few years and seeing what they do that's right, and how can I implement that in my business. Thinking about Gary, be like, all right, he knows, I know that I need to put these systems in place, but before I thought I knew systems and I really didn't. It's literally just stepping on the outside of your business and looking in,
Mm-hmm.
and breaking it down. Like, it's like when you're a kid, you build Legos and it's not right. You tear it down, you rebuild it. You tear it down, you rebuild it, until you finally get that perfect little car that, rolls across the floor perfect, and it might take you from 2 years old to 5 years old to do that. But if you keep at it for 3 years, you'll eventually get there. And that's just, for me this time, it's been easier to rebuild, and it's been funner to rebuild. It's been more enjoyable.
It's more fun. I don't think funner's not.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I'm from
Grammar.
Ohio.
Yeah.
So, but it's just fun in general.
How many VAs are you running right now?
We've just got one right now.
Yeah.
Everything else, I'm kind of using I have several JV partners that I wholesale with and flip with. And what's kind of cool is we've built a team within our group that each person kind of has their own little job task.
Mm-hmm.
And it's allowed us to all keep our overhead low and really kind of scale.
So you're still running JVs, you're still running partnerships.
Yep.
So,
but they're individualized.
Okay, so it's like, if this lead comes from this partnership, it runs that way. If
Correct.
this lead comes over in this JV, it goes that way.
Correct.
If this comes in solely in-house, I just take it on by myself.
Correct.
Got
Yeah,
it.
and I have less of those. I focus on helping build those JV relationships because they work,
Okay, so JV relationship, that's kind of more of the Midwest Connect thing, where people are coming to you and be like, hey, Dustin, I know you've got more experience on this than I do. I have this lead. What do I do? And you're like, okay, well, let's work together.
Yeah, basically, like the one I said I met at the Reacon last year, we've wholesaled.
I'm waiting on my cut.
Yeah, I know.
Who do I follow up?
I'll get with somebody today.
Okay.
We'll get you a check.
Where's my Sizzler? My gift card is Sizzler.
There you go. But that specific person, I've done so many wholesale deals and now flipping with them that they could go out on their own, but we enjoy working together. We each have our own business, but yet we enjoy working together. And yet I've been able to put a system in the background, whether it be at a VA or whether it be everything else that complements them. and we just keep working together.
Well, that's another shout out to Gary. Is one thing that really struck home from my encounter with him at his conference was the concept of emotional capital. So if I work with you, there's a pay component, but there's also an emotional component. If I don't make a lot of money in that, but I make a lot of like feel good, if I have a lot of feel good, then it's okay.
Yeah.
So if I'm way feel good and no money or even negative money, I probably still do that.
Yeah.
But as that feel good goes down, if that money doesn't go up, eventually it's just about the money. And if there ain't no money, it's like, peace, I'm out.
Yep.
So one thing I'm trying to do here, because I'm fully aware of the guys that I'm working with, like Sekou and Chris, that they're talented dudes. And especially if every 5 seconds Sekou's hearing me, hey, go hire yourself a $50,000, $60,000 guy. And Sekou's probably like, motherfucker, you don't pay me no $50,000, $60,000 a year, you know? But he just said this is true, but it's but I'm trying to build a company and a system that's like, okay, yeah, bro, you could make that now, or if you just ride with me, we're trying to build and I'm trying to incentivize to where what could be will dwarf that.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, and you'll enjoy your life more, so you'll have more. I'm trying to offer a high social, emotional capital, but also eventual high pay.
Yeah.
The reality is, it's Corona. Nobody makes money.
Yeah.
Well, unless you're Dustin, you know, he's making all the money.
It's kind of funny you say that, because I ended up bringing on a COO, basically someone that can help me create my systems and everything. And the way that I've structured it for them is he's going to make money on every flip that I do, you know, and he sees the opportunity of like, okay, I'm working with 3 JV or 4 JV partners right now. If I bring on 4 or 5, then we can be doing, you know, 5 to 10 flips a month with half to work. And he's going to make money on every single one of those, you know. So it's also understanding and showing them your vision and letting them know, like, look, if you stick this out, it ain't going to be 6 months. It's not going to be, you know, 12 months. It might not even be 2 years. But in 3 years, what could we be doing if we're legit doing this many deals a month? And you're making money off all of them. Mm-hmm. Or I can just pay you a salary, and then when we're making that much money a month, you're going to wish you had taken the other way.
Yeah.
You know, are you going to build with me, or you want to work for me? I would rather you build with me than work for me.
Well, and on the JV partners or the employee type partners, going back to that whole concept of, are you ready to go out on your own? Are you sure you know everything? And this is that whole conversation when it comes to real estate is, when somebody comes into your door, do you give them everything? Do you give them A to Z and all the secrets, or do you hold a little back because, like, out of the fear that if I teach you everything, you'll never come back?
Yeah.
And there's 2 schools of thought. Well, there's probably more, but I'll just say 2 for right now. The one is what I just said. If I show Josh everything there is to know about real estate, well, why does he need me anymore?
Yeah.
He'll do his own thing. He'll never come back. But if I show him everything there is to know and we have a good relationship, maybe he enjoys working with me, but that could evolve to where he's bringing me deals and I'm still making money off that person and that relationship. And it might be different than when there was an employer or a joint venture type thing, but that's what's so cool about real estate. And I've said this for years. What I love most about real estate is how inclusive it is.
Yeah.
Especially in a world of 2020 where everything is being segmentized. It's like, you know, it's either male or woman or black or white or gay or straight or all the other colors of the chaos of 2020. But real estate, there's only one color and one thing that matters, and that's money.
Yeah.
That's green. So, like, I don't even have to like you. If we can make money, let's work together. You know, and I love that. And to me, that's super inclusive.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's just finding those relationships that work and keep rolling on them. That's really for me. You know, with those partnerships and those relationships, it's you nurture them and you lead with the right mindset in them. They're just going to keep working with you. You know, it's for me, leveraging the JV relationships and just that connection has allowed me to scale in a few short months. What's taken me several years to build on the other side. Yeah. And, you know, whereas I could be out doing 1 or 2 wholesale deals a month myself, just hustling and doing all aspects of the deal. Now we're, you know, this month closing quite a few deals, and it's much easier because I have all these JV partners helping me with the mechanisms in their own individual business. Yet collectively, we're doing huge things, and raising big money, and turning, wholesalers into flippers, which in my opinion should be how it is.
Yeah.
So
well, that's what we were talking about earlier about if you only wholesale. Well, you're limited. If you only flip, you're limited. If you only lend, you're limited.
So my
Married up.
mindset with it is, okay, I'm wholesaling with this person. Then we're going to flip together with some of this capital we raise together. They could go out on their own after they've done a couple of flips, right? Well, what if I take some of that money that I've made with them and I keep rolling it with that person on the flip side? Now I'm also becoming a lender, and they're going to want to continually do deals. Even if they're out there doing 1 or 2 deals on their own, and I'm doing 1 or 2 deals with them because I've raised capital and flipping a couple with them, they're going to be there forever.
I don't know why this thought came in my head, but I will bring it up just because I think it's so relevant, is because real estate is so relationship centric, you should always pay for everything.
Yeah.
If I do you a favor, you should pay.
Yeah.
5% of that JV No, just kidding. No, I'm just saying it's like if somebody introduces you to somebody and you make $1 million deal out of it, there should be some sort of kickback.
Oh yeah.
And it's and a lot of times that person be like, no man, that's cool. No, there's no reason for that. And that's their decision. But the reality is like, if I say there's a realtor and I'm giving that realtor 2 or 3 leads, and those 2 or 3 leads turns into listings or whatever, and that realtor never gives me a favor, never goes on a date. I don't actually, just kidding. That's probably an inappropriate joke, but no, but like if I never get anything out of that, like no money, no referrals, no business coming my way, guess what's happening to my next referral? It's going to a different realtor.
Yep.
It's going to a different thing. So like if I'm sending you leads and you close on it and you're like, hey man, thanks Ryan, high five. I'm be like, the fuck? High five?
Yeah.
And not in public. I'm like, yeah, good job, man. Good for you. But that next lead, it's going to Sekou. It's going to Fred.
Yep.
It's not going to you. So, and that's just one of those, it's like one of those unwritten baseball rules. Like, I don't know anything about baseball, but I know baseball has like a full-on handbook of unwritten rules. So, but that's one of those unwritten rules with real estate is you always pay. Yeah. Even if it's from your buddy, you always pay.
Yeah, I agree. If you keep it that way, it'll grow those relationships.
Yeah.
Even if you create 2 of those a year after 5 years, that's big.
Make it. Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. Like if I create one solid JV relationship a month, even if it's only one every 2 months, after 5 years, what happens when I have all those relationships?
Right.
Won't starve.
So in this whole building or construction doesn't matter. Grammar police over here.
You got me now.
I know. Yeah. In this rebuilding phase, what is the biggest challenge? Regardless of Corona.
Yeah.
Because I know Corona's like, well, Corona. It's like, no shit in Corona. Everybody's got that problem.
Yeah. I think it's just time for me. It's just figuring out how to get my systems in place. It's actually grown really quickly, and I've been able to manage it, but I wouldn't also have been able to manage it like I have if I hadn't failed in the past. So, I would say just more time on my end. But again, I'm just trying to plug the right people in the right spots right now. So that's it.
So what happens when you have the wrong person in the wrong spot?
Then we find someone new.
You just,
yeah,
because that's
it
whole,
sucks,
the
but
fire
you
fast,
have to.
hire slow, fire fast. I'm like, I think I'm doing it wrong because I hire fast and it's like, but that's like dating. It's like you start going out with somebody and you're like, this is the wrong person. You're like, but I'm non-confrontational.
Yeah.
So you just stick it out.
And I try to.
And then you got crazy, right, Sekou? You get the crazy. Yeah.
And I try to lead into it with the right mindset of letting them know this won't be easy. It's not going to be what you think it's going to be.
Yeah.
Even on my JV relationships, I'm going to say this is going to be you're going to hate this. This is going to suck. We're going to fail together. And if we can't get through that, then I'm going to have to move on.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Yeah.
So I don't like to lead into things with like big expectations. Like, yeah, we're gonna make $1 million this quarter. You know, this and that.
So that's what I'm doing wrong.
Yeah,
I'm like, hey, we're gonna do this amazing stuff, but it's gonna take a minute.
You can, but at the same point in time, like, shoot, I think I've even told Josh, I think, you know, we're gonna fail, right? You know, we're gonna make mistakes, but at the same point in time, I'd rather be real about that than tell them like, hey, we're gonna make $1 million, drive Lamborghinis in 2 months, and move on.
God.
But
well, you mean you could do?
No,
you could do that. It's just rental.
You can.
I never look. First of all,
you know a good rental place? I need one while I'm in town so I can make a video.
First of all, I'm sure we can find you one. Look at me. You know I ain't fitting in no Lamborghini. You know, the only way I'm getting on Lamborghini is if I'm on the hood.
Yeah.
That would probably not be good for Lamborghini.
No, it'd be like whoosh. Anyway.
But
it's like everybody's like, Ryan, stop talking about your weight. I'm like, whatever. It's funny.
Yeah.
But
you can do big things. It just takes.
Is that a fat joke?
Yeah,
it is. So now that we're on my way, let's talk about fitness. No, I'm just kidding. But is there anything that surprised you? Like, what are you enjoying most about this process of building? Like, because for me, what I'm enjoying most is I hate the word, freedom. You do it for freedom. It's like, freedom. Then why am I only getting 3 hours of sleep at night? Why am I here 13, 14 hours a day? You know, that's not freedom. That's still kind of like, hey, you're building a thing.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like, I know 6 months, 18 months down the line, what we see now will be a completely different thing in 6 to 18 months when, okay, maybe it's not money, but maybe it's relationships, maybe it's prospects, maybe it's opportunities. We'll just be flowing.
Yeah.
But when you're getting started and really trying to get those systems in place, that's when it's like, okay, this is that, nut up or shut up type phase.
Yeah. I got to look at the vision 5 years down the road, and I constantly got to look at that every day. Like,
oh, that's so cute. You think there's going to be a 5 years from now?
Well, at least I might be okay by then.
Okay.
I'm not saying.
I'm saying because November is just around the corner. You think we're gonna make it to 2021?
Yeah, true. I just know that if I don't give up, that I'm gonna hit my goals eventually.
Yeah.
And I can't expect it tomorrow. Plain and simple. This is a process for me, and I really don't even think that once I hit that, I'll still want to quit because I actually do enjoy what I do.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. Like I just flew into Dallas at 8 a.m. yesterday morning, and we're out driving for dollars. Like, that's fun to me. Like, it's kind of like at a vacation.
Well, what I love about this is because I was gonna have you, one of my clients, Jess, do a podcast with you, just because I'm more interested in trying to get his brand going than my own. So I haven't done a podcast thing since like January, February. It's been forever because, Corona, ankle surgery, all those things. And like later today, I'm actually jumping on a friend of mine's podcast. She's down in New Zealand. So we're doing like a LinkedIn Live thing later this afternoon. So it's like, oh, cool. I get to focus on me today, which is cool because one of the things that I know Jess loves about doing podcasts is he's always on his phone. Even when we're recording media or videos with Sekou, he's on his phone the entire time. So for him to sit down for an hour and a half, 2 hours, just to have a conversation, his fiance doesn't even get that. Yeah. His fiance gets the phone version, so that's a really cool thing. And I'm like, man, I'm just, hanging out with you and the guys in the background. It's been a minute.
Yeah. So
I'm really enjoying that. That's awesome. I'm like, man, thank you for forcing me to like, okay, let's jump back on. Well, I have still invited you, but the whole forcing, it's the opportunity. Thank you for the opportunity to jump back on the camera side,
Yeah, likewise, man. I just enjoy getting here and talking to people.
I just like how fit you are. It's like,
Not really, but
next time bring the wife, man.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Well, you're cool. But like, if you're cool as
the truth comes out now.
No,
we'll get her on the next podcast.
Her personality is amazing. I love her.
She's actually jumped in with this and got a real estate license and kind of helping me on that end of the business too. So she's actually starting to enjoy it.
So you were talking about 5 years down the line goals. What are those 5 year down the line goals?
Don't stop and see where I am. I don't know. It sounds kind of crazy, but it's
let's process that.
I
don't even know what that means.
I could say I want 1,000 rentals. I could say I want, like what everybody else does. But for me, it's just, I'm just going to keep going. Like,
But why 1,000 rentals?
I don't know. That's what everybody says, man. I don't really know. It's kind of hard to say because I love flipping. I love wholesaling. I can't really say where I'm going to be in 5 years, but I'm going to be in this business.
Do you think your goals are monetary or?
If I had to really, I guess, say my lifelong goal is to turn my phone off and sit on a beach with my kids for an entire month and know that when I turn my phone back on, that my money's in the same spot.
Right.
And that's the real goal.
But you can have that. You don't need
yeah.
1,000 rentals for that.
No, exactly. And that's why, I could answer to a question like that. I want to be doing 100 deals a month or 1,000 rentals in 5 years. But in reality, it's just setting my family up for success.
Because like the reality, and I think that's it's one of those big myths and misunderstandings about real estate is if you have 1,000 rentals, okay, but are those paid off rentals or are they leveraged all the way up?
Yeah.
Because sometimes the guy that has 10 rentals, but those 10 rentals are fully paid off and they have really good lifelong tenants and you've got a really good management company, like those 10 rentals are probably, obviously they're not worth more on books, but you would probably be able to do that month-long vacation with those 10
Exactly.
versus in that whole situation versus the 1,000. Because those 1,000, they're fully leveraged and you have shitty tenants and you have a shitty management company.
Yep.
You're in a shitty position.
I've been working with some older landlords in my area, and they're like in their 70s, 80s.
The Ohio landlord market is huge. They're
huge.
legit.
I've got one guy, and he's got like 100 rentals.
Yeah.
Maybe a little more than 100. But this guy grosses, I think he's netting over $100,000 a month.
Yeah.
Because they're all paid for.
Yeah.
And that's only 100 and some.
Yeah.
So that would be a more realistic goal for me. If you can't survive on $100,000 a month, we got problems.
Yeah, yeah. Like, and the thing is though, like the Jeff Bezos, the Donald Trump, the guys that are like more, and they're just like the hungry hippo. Like I need more. Is like there's something clinically wrong with your brain.
Yeah.
Like I think it's a psychopath thing or a sociopath thing. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, clearly, but you can want success, but at a certain point, it's like. What is success? Yeah. It's like the process of building or the process of acquiring the world.
Yeah. You can have 20 paid for rentals and sustain a good lifestyle.
Yeah. And again, I'm not one of these guys that says, hey, enough is enough. Let's go sit on the beach. I'd probably be like, all right, cool. Let's go build another thing. Because a lot of the people that I know that are successful they're bored and they want to build new stuff and they want to do a new thing. That's one of the reasons, like with the event with Donovan Ruffin that we're doing, he's like, dude, I'm kind of bored. My company's done really successful, and I think getting into events would. And I'm like, you sure? Events suck, man. Like, yeah, they're sexy on the outside, but behind the scenes, it gets brutal. Mm-hmm. And he's like, no, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun because he's bored.
Yeah.
So, are you bored yet?
No, not really. I think if I ever hit the point of being bored of real estate, then I'll just look at other businesses because I just enjoy. I think it's the building for me. I enjoy the building of something.
Do you think you'll ever get back into restaurants?
Probably.
Like once that's a viable thing again?
I don't know if I'd.
Is it the cooking aspect or just the management or the?
It's something about the business I enjoy.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if I would actually create my own concept again.
Yeah.
But I would probably look at franchises.
Are you a good cook, or is it just you were more the manager?
Am I a good cook? I make some killer barbecue. So.
Dude.
Yeah.
Dude, his barbecue waffles, man,
Oh yeah.
Like, what are you doing tonight? Because I know you have a 5 o'clock. I pitched you on this.
Yeah.
I was like, bro, we got a cool spot here. Like, we could have an impromptu meetup, invite 20, 30 investor guys. You can have the Dustin meetup.
Yeah.
And just hang out. And then we've got one of those eggs back there.
That's true.
I mean, let's throw you on a grill.
I got some long and some slow and low stuff, but we could whip up some nice barbecue chicken or something.
I'm saying, we could throw. I know this is a pre-recorded podcast, but we could throw. Dude,
we can throw this out quick.
650 people signed up for that event already. It's been like a week and a half, and I just did my first email for it yesterday. All I'm saying is we can get 20, 30 people out here.
Yeah, true.
Just think about it while we're finishing this up. I know you got a 5 o'clock appointment, but
That's a house too. That's yeah.
No, take the
We
money.
can come back. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Go get the house, come
Or go
back,
get a contract and come back.
and then you can sell the fucker.
It's true to somebody here.
That's what I'm saying. But I want my cut on that too.
Sounds good. Yeah. I'm going to be back in Dallas, I think, at least once a month moving forward.
Awesome, man.
That's, I think we talked about that. I've already got tickets booked out for December 1st event with Carlos. And
Okay.
then I'm going to probably book
Is
something.
he coming out?
I think it was December 1st, him and at AT&T Stadium or something. So
Oh.
That was one of the
Texas Tuesdays thing.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I seen that, so I figured I'd book that. And
Yeah.
then I'll probably.
He might be coming out for the 1027 event.
Yeah.
Just, because everybody's coming out.
Yeah, I got to come now. So
Yeah.
I can't miss that.
Pace Morby.
Yeah.
He was like, man, I'd love to. He's like, is that cool with Donovan? I was like, yeah. He's like, well, I just don't want to. I know it's his thing. I'm like, bro, there's like 600 people. You're cool.
Yeah.
It's everybody. It's super inclusive. Like even people I'm not like huge fans of. I'm not. Nobody's banned from coming.
Yeah, if you're in real estate in this area or anywhere really,
Yeah.
you need to be there. Plain and simple.
It's all good. I mean, but the power of networking is huge.
Oh yeah.
So you're doing. Where in Ohio are you?
Between Cincinnati, Dayton, Ohio, just south of Columbus, basically.
Yeah.
So like I'm in like a killer area.
I only ask that because I'm sure somebody at some point may be watching this and go, okay, Ohio's a state, but where in Ohio? None of that means anything to me
Yeah.
because I couldn't point Ohio on a map.
Yeah.
It's above Kentucky, right?
Yeah.
And the only reason I know that is because you fly into the Kentucky airport to go to Ohio.
Yeah, you're not missing anything. No. About the only thing we have good in Ohio is cash flow, but
Well,
that's cool though.
There's
so.
that casino, in
There's a
Cincinnati.
casino there?
In Cincinnati,
No, there
I
is.
made like $6K. the day I left
We've
from
got
that.
a few of them now. Like they just popped up out of nowhere. I'm like, well, I don't really gamble. Like if I gamble, I'm like,
I love gambling. Gambling's not the right word. I like blackjack.
Yeah.
I love blackjack, but at the same time, it's like I hate losing more than I love winning. So therefore, I try not to play as much as I have in the past. But you're spending 12, 13, 14 hours building a company.
Yeah.
You don't have time for that.
yeah. My gambling's pulling leads and sending people text messages to see who replies.
Yeah, split testing, marketing, and whatnot.
Yeah.
So Ohio, now Dallas. Are you expanding other places, or is it mainly just a relationship with Josh that you're coming to Dallas?
Mostly relationship with him.
Because I know you said Florida.
Florida probably soon.
Do you have a
So.
contact out there, or are you still
Yeah.
working that?
Yeah. Him.
Are you're in Florida and Dallas?
Yeah. PCB.
I got a bunch of real estate down in Florida already.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, why do you need him? I mean, never mind.
Thanks.
You're like, I built the systems. I have the systems in place, and
Nah, we've known each other for years now, and we just want to do something. So
and that's the thing is in. I don't want to be all frou-frou relationships, but it really is. You got
It
to work
is.
with people you enjoy, but also you can trust, but you can work together and have the win-win.
Yeah.
Like as soon as there's that whole concept of it not being a win-win and, oh, Dustin's doing all the work and making none of the money, or Josh is doing all the work and making none of the money. But if it's like, hey, here's a set of expectations, expectations, and the money is dispersed accordingly.
yeah.
That's an incredibly different thing. That's one of the things struggle is not the right word, but a lot of the projects I'm working on here are incentivized based on performance. And some of those projects I'm like, right now I'm dealing with is, okay, right now it's like a 70-30 of me putting all the work and you doing 30% of the work. And then right now also the benefits of doing that project is like a 99-1, where you're getting 99% of the benefits and I'm getting none of the benefits.
Yeah.
So at some point you're like, man, this non-confrontational Ryan is a pussy and needs to get up and actually just right, Sekou?
No comment.
So do you ever have struggles, or are you just like, hey, those types of situations? Are you like,
I do.
Hey, I
Everybody
can
does.
nip it in the bud.
Yeah, everybody has those struggles. I think, and in the very beginning of real estate for me, I let the struggles bring me down. Like I let them stress me out. I let them kick my butt. And so I let it roll off anymore and work through them. Just become that problem solver, really.
Yeah.
So we have them every day. I mean, we're in real estate, so I mean, my phone's blowing up. As I'm sitting here, I'm pretty sure there's 2 or 3 problems in there. But
What's the biggest struggle that ate away at you at night,
when I first got started,
or just in general?
inspections, man. Like I let those like make my stomach curdle. It was horrible.
Green tag, red tag.
Yeah, like you beat yourself up. Like, man, I just had like all this come back on an inspection report. I'm failing. I can't get this right. But at the end of the day, you're gonna have that stuff.
Did you have a good contractor, or
I
were you
did.
doing self-contracting?
I was a lot of self-contracting
Okay.
and subbing out everything. So I was learning, plain and simple.
I just saw a report. Kelly Smith, Easy Street Capital, she shared this on her Facebook yesterday, that the amount of permits that are backed up in Dallas County right now is to the point where contractors and investors are basically revolting because they're like, you're holding everything up.
Yeah.
And it's like if you expect us to build this house with the correct permits and inspections and all the legal bureaucracy and to make sure it's done correctly, well then you got to do your job. But Corona, we're not working right now.
Yeah.
So it's just another thing that's killing that sector of the economy.
Yeah.
So inspections is what drives you? What is the thing that most excites you other than the payday?
My family, like going home every day and just knowing that maybe next week I'll be able to come home 10 minutes earlier than the last week. So I push a little harder every day to make that happen.
What time do you usually come home?
Lately, it's been about 6, 7.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's 5. Somewhere between 5 and 7 usually every day. I try to cut it off and like, all right, I got to go home. Even though I go home, my phone don't shut off. At least I'm home.
Yeah.
It's when I first started. I mean, shoot, I felt like I lived there literally, and I try to create that balance now.
Yeah. There's a guy here in North Texas, Freedom Johnson, and it's either 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock. Every day, 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, he's done with work.
Yeah.
And the rest of the afternoon, evening, he spends with his family.
Yeah.
And he's a young dude, and even I think he's been in real estate maybe 2 years now, maybe longer. I don't know. I just know it's as you get older /2020 /Corona, it's like, what does time even mean anymore?
Yeah.
I could have met him yesterday and I wouldn't know, but I just know he started watching a lot of the Propelio stuff, and I think he's actually out there doing it now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be disparaging because he may be really successful right now, but my memory is 2 years ago when he's getting started. But the reason I bring him up though is that whole concept of, even from the very beginning, when it's most important to like, I don't like the words most important, but it's when it's very important to like give your baby, your business, all of you. He made the decisive decision to go, look, my family is more important. So 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, every single day, he goes home.
Yeah.
And I was like, at the time, I mean, I've always respected that.
Yeah.
But I don't have a family. I don't have any kids. I don't have a wife. So it's hard for me to fully relate to that.
Yeah.
But, I could fully get on board with going home at 3, 4 o'clock and just hang out with my dog.
Oh yeah. Well, if I lose them, then nothing I'm doing. That's the way I look at it. But my family also.
So you're
knows.
saying I'm empty? I have a
Yeah.
dog, man.
Yeah, I know. I look at it like, my family knows that if I step outside and I got to make a phone call at 8 o'clock at night, they respect that, and vice versa. So I try to keep it like that.
Yeah. How many kids you got these days?
4.
Jesus. How old are you? Like 26?
30-something, 35.
30 something? You're like, I don't know.
Wait, hang on. I got to think about that.
How old are your kids?
Oh, 3, 8, 9, and 15.
That's a good spread.
It is.
Do
Thought we were done in the middle, but
does the 15-year-old, do they like do you ever just like leave and let the 15-year-old run the house?
a couple times.
Is that
She's
freeing,
really,
or
she's
is
really
that
responsible now? So
does that feel freeing, or is that
It
like
does.
nerve-wracking?
yeah,
You know?
it's just little time periods, but it's still available sometimes.
That's one thing I had a conversation the other day about a friend is, are you familiar with the concept of latchkey kid?
Sounds familiar. Yeah, I know what it is. I just can't think of
So
the details.
Well, what it is basically the like born in 70 through like born into 88 are the only generation of kids that grew up as latchkey kids, meaning before like 1970, like there's always a woman in the household. It was like both parents working.
Mm-hmm.
And then post like 88, post 90, everybody had either a babysitter or they went to daycare. So therefore there was like a 20-year spread of kids that would walk home as a third grader and go home by themselves, and they would have a key to their own house.
Okay, yeah.
And they would be unsupervised, but it was the only generation of kids that were like, your parents were like, well, this is what we have to do, because we didn't have money to have a babysitter or daycare, and we both have to work.
Yeah.
So are you a latchkey kid?
No.
So
My
you're
mom was home.
Yeah. So you're younger.
Yeah.
So Seiko, are you a latchkey kid?
Nope.
Josh?
What was I didn't hear what you said.
Bastard. When you were young, when you came home, did you either go to daycare, or did you have a babysitter, or did you have a parent at the house? Yeah. It's crazy, huh?
Yeah.
That whole concept. Like, because if you actually think about it, it's like, oh, damn. Like, because I remember being in first grade, second grade, and going home and being there by myself.
Yeah.
Or being in fifth grade and being at my best friend Mikey's house, and like at 9 o'clock calling home, be like, hey, can I spend the night at Mikey's house? Like, no, you need to come home before I'm like, okay. And then I would just go home at 5 a.m. And as long as when they woke up, I was home, they didn't know. I know we're going in a weird tangent, but it's just interesting to me how it's like there was a gap in parenting for like 20 years where parents like, weren't concerned about abductions or murder.
Yeah. We're definitely not in that time anymore.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so no, we don't need. We're real estate.
Yeah.
Like, do you have fears of your kids being abducted? It's weird. So as far as back to the goals and aspirations, anything other than just like, hey, I want to spend a month and not feel like my world's crumbling.
Yeah. I just mostly that, and just waking up every day knowing that, if I spend everything that month, it's going to be right back there again the next month. That's kind of my goal.
That's a good goal.
Yeah.
As far as business, what are you looking to do? Like, are you looking for specifically Florida? Where in Florida? Specifically Dallas or North Texas? Or is it any deal anywhere that you're wanting to do?
No, I definitely want to focus on Ohio first. And then now that I'm in this area, I would like to, Dallas, Fort Worth area, kind of open-minded. We've been looking at some rural areas too. Just, obviously things are growing in this town. Then I would say if we go to Florida, we're looking PCB and Tampa both for me. So
What's PCB?
Panama City Beach.
Oh, I thought that sounded like a drug or something.
Yeah.
PCB. Like,
It might be.
Are you on PCB? I don't know.
But above and beyond that, I don't really want to go.
Uh-huh.
I want to keep it. I don't want to do too much,
Yeah.
to where it just puts me all over the place. Those areas I'm super familiar with. It's not like I'm going into markets that I've never been. I spent a lot of time in each one of those over
Yeah.
life. So I know the streets. I know the people. It's easy for me.
Yeah.
Above and beyond that, just focus on that. Buckle down. I think we're sitting right now, we're averaging 5 flips a month right
Yeah.
now. So I want to keep that going in the spring and keep those relationships growing. Hopefully hit about 10, 15 by next year a month.
That's huge, man.
Yeah.
And then as far as the business you're looking for, flips, wholesale deals, joint venture partners,
Yeah.
private lenders,
Yeah.
the gambit.
Yeah, pretty much. I start with the wholesales and then go with my exit strategies. If we need to flip it and keep it, then I want to talk to one of my partners. Nice thing about that is if I generate a wholesale deal, I would rather flip it, obviously, than wholesale it.
Mm-hmm.
So
There's more money,
there is. And
more
so
risk, more reward.
it got me, COVID got me back into the flipping, plain and simple. I learned how to wholesale heavily last year. I mean, in all honesty, when I rebooted my business, I'm still wholesaling heavy,
Yeah.
but I'm also buying now and flipping because I have that, I have that experience.
Do you have a set model of 9 wholesales keep the 10th,
No.
or is it just more of the property specific?
Yeah.
Or like, man, we bought this at 45%. Hey, let's flip this one.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking at it right now. So, we've got 3 or 4 JV partners we're flipping with, and they're also wholesalers that I started with.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm looking at like, all right, let's fill their pipeline first, and then we'll wholesale everything else. So
Cool.
yeah.
So as far as getting a hold of your Instagram, Facebook, all those things,
Yeah.
email.
Dustin Seyersdahl on Facebook.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
anybody. Yeah,
You're gonna
okay.
butcher the name, so if you look up Midwest REI Connect,
Yeah,
you're gonna find me in there too. So
I like Sarsdahl better though. Can we just? No, you're like, screw you, man.
we'll write it on like a whiteboard and we'll
So Midwest REI.
Midwest
Connect.
REI Connect.
All right,
Yeah.
and then I'll drop
Yeah.
your information, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you coming out, man.
No, most
I
definitely.
know. I know you flew
do this
all the
again.
way to Dallas just for me.
Just to see you.
So let's talk about that barbecue
Yeah.
when we get in the happening.
If not now, how about we plan something next time?
That's what
I'll
I'm
come in
saying.
here. We'll do a little mini meetup. I'll whip up some barbecue. I even
That
make up
backyard though, right, man?
I'll make homemade seasoning. I'll make homemade barbecue sauce. Like I'll do the whole nine.
Dude, we'll make it a full.
Like I won't even be here for real estate. I'll just let everybody
just
else
do
talk.
a full. We'll do a full day cooking and Saturday, and you can do it. You can do. Oh, I got it.
Barbecue
I got it.
and meat. But yeah,
Yeah, barbecue and me or meat.
meat, barbecue meetup. We might even be able to sell tickets. to that one.
GoDaddy find. Yeah, no, but I think that'd be a cool thing
Yeah.
where like, and feel free to do this in up in Ohio, but like a full day thing where it's like, hey, we're barbecuing all day.
Yeah,
The meetup networking part is at 7, but if you want to come here at 6 a.m. while I'm starting a barbecue or whatever the timing is,
sure we can find cookers down here.
I'm sure people would want to like just hang out and drink beer all day and talk about real estate. Might be exhausting, but I think that'd be a cool, fun idea.
Yeah,
I don't know. Let's talk
let's
about
do
it.
it.
Cool, man.
Sounds like
Well, anyway, I appreciate you coming in. That's about it. That's all I had.
Thanks.
I mean,
Yeah.
I would say, a lot of times with real estate podcasts, like, well, how can they get business with you? And what are you looking for? We already covered that.
Yeah,
And me, it's like, well, whatever.
yeah. Let's just hang out.
Yeah,
Sounds like a good deal.
I'm trying to.
Yeah,
We could just make it awkward silence and then just end.
just stare at the camera.
Yeah, let's just stare at cameras.
That is awkward.
Yeah. All right. I appreciate it. Hey,
No.
thanks, Dustin.
No,
hey,
most
thanks,
definitely.
everybody, for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.